Tuesday night, and you know what that means, fangirls and fanboys. It's time to pop culture. Tonight, we celebrate the birth of our boy Tom Hardy. We have a little chit-chat about problematic things in Vanity Fair and on Project Greenlight. And in better news, we have some classic Nickelodeon to discuss, a release date for Jessica Jones, and an epic soundtrack to the Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon. That's just the tip of the iceberg, though, so settle in and prepare your commenting fingers. It's go time. Woohoo! Commenting fingers, yes, which you can use on Facebook, on Twitter, and on the Q&A, which I should open up in the side now because we know how to do that. Thanks, Duncan. So if people want to say anything, someone has, is it Duncan, who has already said nerds? So we've got that going.
That's not a question, Duncan.
It's not a question. Gosh. Tonight we'll be soliciting throughout the episode your favorite Tom Hardy quotes, GIFs, movies, whatever. We'll discuss ours. It's his birthday today, so that's a very exciting thing. I'm into that. Kristen, you had an exciting weekend.
I did have an exciting weekend. I mean, not only did we celebrate your birthday, Corrigan, through good fashion, but on Sunday, my friend Casey, who lives in Alaska.
Oh, wow.
Was home for her birthday, and she's very excited. And so she wanted to go to the LA County Fair. Fine. Casey, I love you, so I will go. I hate the fair, but we'll go. It'll be great.
You hate the fair?
It's just
you hate all fairs, or is it just, okay.
I don't really like them. I don't really, I was like, what do you do? I wander around and look at like little kids' artwork. Like
eat stuff.
Anyway, so we had finished eating and we're cruising and we've been looking for the photo booth. So we find the photo booth. So we take the pic, we try to cram. Remember you're in junior high and you crammed like 8 of your friends in there and it was always this great picture. Mm-hmm. Not as easy when you're a full grown human. Just going to throw that out there. So we tried to fit 5 women in a photo booth and it's like all necks and like some chins and eyes. It was a pretty epic win, actually, if you ask me. It was pretty funny. So
how'd it come out?
Terrible. It came out terrible, but it was hysterical. Every time we looked at it, we just started laughing. So it was fun. But anyway, so we're waiting. You know that you're like anticipation. You're waiting for the picture to come out. So I'm standing next to the photo booth and I'm waiting, and I look up and I see this face, and I think to myself, "Hey, I know that person." But I can't remember where. I'm like, did I go to school with him, or why do I know his face? And then it dawns on me, and out loud, I say this out loud, and I point.
Oh no!
Like with my 2 friends who was in there, and I go, and now, mind you, he's a far-ish away, so I don't actually know if he heard me or not. But I point and I go, "Hey, it's Breckenmeyer," and then it dawns on me what I said, and I was like, "Oh my God, Breckenmeyer!" My friends have absolutely no idea who I'm talking about.
Ugh, that kills me. It's Breckenmeyer. Come on.
And they look, and they're like, "Oh," I was like, "Travis from Clueless," and they're like, "Oh yeah." And now at this point, I'd already been kind of like pointing and no, go lay down. Just Tweedledee and Tweedledum over here. He's like slobbered all over my hand. Gross. And so not Breckenmeyer, the dog. And so then at this point, so they kind of like pointed again. And then he kind of turned and saw me and we made eye contact for like the briefest second until I was like, "Whoa!" And then I like looked away. I didn't want to be obvious because he was there with his kids and his wife. And he's like the most adorable dad in the whole world. He had like cargo pants on and was like so nerdy. I loved it so much.
And you said he was little?
Yeah, and his kids were just so cute, and his wife's like beautiful. And I think it was somebody's dad, maybe his dad or her dad. It was some old man that was also with them. And they were waiting for their picture to develop. And so I'm like, "You guys, be cool." And of course, no one else is freaking out, so they don't.
Right? Yeah. Be cool, guys. Be cool. This guy, you have no idea who it is.
They're already being cool. I'm the one that's like, "Oh," and then like we kind of got our picture around the same time he did. So him and his family started walking away. So we totally followed them for a beat through the fair until my friend Casey wanted to look at the spas, which is super weird. I'm like, "What do you look at the spas for? You're not gonna buy one of these." She's like,
"Is she in the market?"
She goes, "But someday I will when I have a house." I'm like, "You're basically homeless. Like you live in Alaska, kind of sometimes, So anyway,
that sounds like an interesting story there.
Yeah. Well, she works at like a mine in Alaska that does like geological digs for, I don't know, they test soil for something. I don't know what she does. She always explains.
That's a cover. That is definitely a cover. That's not what she does.
No,
that's not a thing people do.
If so, she's like Clark Kenting it real styles because she's way too geeky.
She almost gave up the ghost with the hot tub thing.
Apparently. So anyway, it was very exciting for me. So those of you who've seen Clueless or watched Franklin and Bash,
or Can't Hardly Wait,
it was a very exciting moment in my life to see Breckenmeyer, and he looks good.
He does. Well, he's got that youthful thing going on,
he looks young, but he's got like a little bit of like gray kind of peppered in, like just the right amount, to be like, okay, he's growing up. He's got kids now. He's very daddish looking, like with his pants and his striped shirt. But
he has dad pants.
I just loved it so much. Like, I really wanted to go say something, but I think he got the point when I was like, totally staring at him. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just go with the fact that he probably knew I recognized him, and I didn't want to, ruin his family day. So,
yeah. I bet it couldn't have possibly been as awkward as the time we saw Adam Wiley at the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah, that was pretty awkward. Well,
we definitely made asses.
Said anything.
Yeah, we just kind of like looked at him and then like stood further away and looked at him.
My friend Tyra just texted me, and Miss Fisher's Murder Mystery season 3 is now on Netflix.
What? This is a game changer! Breaking news, you guys.
Sorry, guys, we're
breaking news on the Fancave. Yeah, sorry guys. We out.
Guys, this is so horrible. I have such a long day at work tomorrow.
Aww,
it's okay. It's gonna be totally worth it. I'm totally gonna watch at least 3 episodes.
Yeah, you're gonna make up for it with the Miss Fisher's action. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about that. And we have Mindy Project tonight.
Hell yeah, we do.
Yeah, which is super exciting. I was gonna say we've been waiting forever, but it doesn't feel like it's actually been that long.
I guess it's been since the spring, so it's normal. It's not like it's been.
Yeah, it hasn't been forever, but it feels like forever.
Picked it up right away,
Yeah, and we got to see the Instagram picture of her and JGL, and he's in her bed for some reason, and you're like, what is happening?
I don't know what I feel about that. Like, what's happening?
I don't know what to think. So I'm excited.
She looks
nice. No, they'll never explain it.
Shut up.
Ever. It's just going to be a weird, ambiguous thing. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's going to be in her bed, and then he's going to disappear. That's it.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to watch that later. So first Mindy, then Miss Fisher until I fall asleep.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful. I'm already on the verge of falling asleep, but I still have like grading and stuff to do. But today marked a very special rite of passage for me. It was the first time I puked after boxing.
Heyo.
So there's that. That was an adventure. It was great because at the end of it, as I've said, we do abs at the end of the boxing class.
Do that at the end, I think.
I know it's torture. So after all of these circuits, I'm doing all this punching and everything, and I'm so exhausted and all that, and I'm already like, I think I'm gonna vom. I'm fairly certain I'm gonna vom. Then it's like we're doing like crunches and all these things, and I'm like every single time I go up, I'm like. So that was cool.
Took it back.
Exactly. Don't do it. So that was an exciting moment for me. But it was my birthday this weekend. Had a good time. And we danced and we partied and we sang. And I also was sick at that point, but that was from breathing. But I still had a good time. So
good. It was a good night.
Yeah, thanks to people who wished me happy birthday wishes and whatnot. It was a happy birthday. Aside from the coughing and whatnot. Oh, by the way, what's hilarious is so I'm keeping track of Facebook as well, trying to make sure that I don't miss anybody's comments or anything. And I just saw the Squeal Miss Fisher season 3 is now on Netflix. You know where I'll be every night this week. So this is a thing, you guys. We're getting multiple messages about Miss Fisher at the moment, which means you should probably be watching it too. Shall we start, though, by just celebrating Mr. Tom Hardy?
Let's do it. Please, I've been waiting all day to do this.
This weekend, also, we pre-gamed Tom Hardy's birthday by watching This Means War, which Kristen had never seen, and it was an emotional roller coaster.
You guys, here's the thing. So most of you, obviously most of you haven't, because I don't know who some of you are. Lots of you probably. I'm a super... probably to other people annoying person to watch movies with if you don't already love me, because I am so vocal. Like, even in movie theaters, which can be a problem, I try to tone it down. But there's been times when, like, with my friends and I'm hitting people.
I was about to say, you get punchy instead in the theater.
I get punched. Yeah, I have to release that somehow because I can't be like, what is happening? You know, or don't go in there. Or please tell me if he makes it back to Earth to his daughter. For God's sake.
And this is the thing, too, is that Kristen will constantly ask you over the course of the movie about the next thing that's going to happen. You know, like, it's like, just give it like 45 seconds and you're going to know the answer to this question.
Or sometimes I try to call it before it happens because I want to be able to say, like, totally called that, you know?
Yeah.
So this movie was just so much fun. Tom Hardy could not have been more wonderful. Like, I'm trying to think, I don't even really want to watch anything else ever again with him. Other than Mad Max. I want to watch Mad Max and I want to watch this movie just over and over.
Just to get those like two ends of the Tom Hardy spectrum.
Yes.
And
he was just so wonderful. I feel like I'm going to start crying. I ordered it that night while we were at the bar for Corey's birthday. I ordered it on Amazon. That's how much I love it.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that movie and I feel like it gets such a bad rap, but I'm like, it's an action rom-com. I mean, how can you go wrong?
I know. It was so great. So I am now glad that I have seen it.
Yeah. Can I tell you one of the most charming things I think that Tom Hardy says is when he says at all and he says atoll. I'm like, that just sounds way too like.
I'm like, that's a piece of land surrounded by water. Isn't it? And
there was a video I sent to Kristen today. Maybe some of you have seen it bopping around. It's from, what's the guy's name? Alan Carr's show.
I've never heard of him before, so.
I just confuse him with Jimmy Carr all the time, who I watch a lot of, a different British presenter. But anyway, Alan Carr has him on his show, and he tells him about the Instagram that Kristen and I have told you all about many times, the Tom Hardy holding dogs. Is that what it's called?
Tom Hardy holding dogs.
Tom Hardy holding dogs Instagram, of which both of us are obviously followers. And so he's like, so since people love you with dogs so much, we thought we'd have you meet a couple of them and take some pictures and send them to this Instagram and make everybody happy. And so he brings
it. About it is Tom's like, yeah, it's kind of weird, but he's like, but I do love dogs. So it's like, I'm cool with it. So,
yeah. So great. It's like, whatever.
It's true. So
yeah. And so as soon as Alan Carr brings out the first dog, he's like, the thing that like most people wanted you to see you with, what the breed most people want to see you with, was a basset hound, of all things. I'm like, sure, why not? And he brings it out, and how does it like? Tom Hardy looks at me and goes like,
oh, hello.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
And he's like all excited, and the dog comes over, and he's like. So, and the first thing he does to check to see if it's a girl or a guy, grabs his nuts, which is like,
reaches right underneath and checks it
like,
out.
What is happening? It's so amazing.
Yeah, it's so great and so cute. He's super into it, and he poses.
Yeah, and he's like trying to pretend. Like at first, you thought like he was like, yeah, I've seen it. Like it's kind of weird, but then you're like, he's so stoked because they just keep, and then they bring out this big Great Dane, and what is it? There's something equally funny, like, oh, look at this boy, or look at this big guy or fella, or something. Like,
yeah, he's something equally charming and adorable, and then he also reaches under to check on that one.
Yeah,
and it's super cute. And then Alan Carr dresses as a dog,
which Tom Hardy calls because he's like sitting there, and everyone's like,
he's like.
It's gonna be some man dressed as a dog suit, isn't it? And then he's like, it's gonna be him, isn't it? And you're like, oh my God.
It's so great. Tom Hardy is such a treasure. And this will it'll warm your heart, you guys. You can't watch this and not feel warm. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that sounds awkward. That was awkward. You probably should. You know what we meant. Like in your heart, warm.
Warm, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway. Tom Hardy. By the way, Duncan says the best Tom Hardy quote is grunts, Mad Max Fury Road, which incidentally he does in This Means War at one point too. I can't remember exactly what's happening, but all of a sudden he just does like a we were like,
whoa! And we were like, oh my God,
he Mad Maxed. It was amazing.
I'm just gonna call that Mad Maxing when people go like, I used to do this thing like. Actually, sometimes I still do it. If there's like a picture of like a cute guy or whatever, I'll be like, why can't I do that? You know, like, yeah. And my friends always thought it was super weird, but now I'm gonna be like, what? I'm just Mad Maxing. Like, don't
Mad Maxing. That's all.
Don't get twisted. Like, whatever.
It's exactly what Max would do in your situation.
You know. So I try to live my life like that.
Yeah,
Living my
Kristen,
life
so
a quarter
I'm
mile
going
at
to
a
say,
time, like Mad Max.
by the way, there's a new Honest trailer for Furious 7.
Oh, I know. I watched it. You tagged me
good.
in it. It's brilliant. I've sent it now to like 5 people.
It's amazing. Just saying. And then the part
incredible.
where they're just like, they just have to mellow out and be like, actually, that tribute to Paul Walker was really touching.
Yeah. Now this
Anyway, awkward transition. Here's some car puns.
Yeah.
I could not handle, what was it? It was drive on
Hunk Sue or something. I don't know.
It was
too good. There were like 8 times where I watched it. He's like, Vin Diesel, that's his real name. That's not a car pun. It's like, that's his actual name. Or the part where it's like, he's perfected the over the shoulder.
Yes, I was like, that's what we always talk about. The over the shoulder look.
Oh, so good.
Vin Diesel thing.
I just love it so much. It was so great. But yeah, I sent it to like my brother, my cousin, my friend. I'm like, watch this. So it was pretty amazing. But
yeah,
because Furious 7, I pre-ordered it. It did come out on DVD today. So
it came out today?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so behind. Clearly I need to get on that. Good to know. Good to know. But I should save it, actually. I should save it till I'm done with my exams, and then I can buy it and be like, okay, I can sit and watch it. Because otherwise I will, as soon as I get it in the mail, be like, and you're mine, and I'm watching you 10,000 times to avoid studying. I also, just as a side note too, I watched this other thing that was related to the Honest trailer. That was, so you know the guy who does the voice for it?
Yeah.
He did this thing where he like pranked drive-through customers at like a hamburger shop. And so as they came through, they would be like, you know, I want like a double quarter pounder or something like that, you know, and he was like, you know, he could have settled for one burger, but instead he chose to be a real man. And you know, he's like narrating like it's a movie trailer. And it's great because he's like, he says in the beginning, he's like, our job here today is just to make people happy. And that's exactly what it does. Like, as soon as he starts talking, the people who are like just sitting there, like kind of concerned looking, like ordering, all of a sudden they just start smiling.
Yeah.
And it's so great. Also, the guy does not look anything like you would imagine.
No.
Which is great. But yeah, so Kristen, I'm going to say your favorite Tom Hardy movie then is probably Mad Max.
Yes, but a close second is going to have to be This Means War, because it was very charming.
I'm going to say,
what about you, Cor?
I'm going to say, this may even be favorite, because Mad Max, I think overall, like, is a great film and all that kind of stuff. I think my favorite Tom Hardy is probably The Drop. I'm super into it. And someone earlier said, it was Inception, the first thing that they'd ever. Sean, who is in Hawaii. Aloha, Sean.
Also, I guess we should mention Band of Brothers, because he was technically in a couple episodes of Band of Brothers.
Yes, he was in Band of Brothers amongst all those stars that weren't stars yet who were in that. James McAvoy. Well, that was one of those things where I didn't even know. You couldn't even recognize him. He looks like a baby. Yeah. It's a different thing altogether. So Band of Brothers obviously is high on our list as well. So we had that. And Brooke also just offered that it's just Tom Hardy, all the things. Yeah. Tom Hardy, all the things across the board, which I get. I was really excited because I thought that Legend came out on my birthday, but it turned out it only came out on my birthday in England.
I know.
Did you see, by the way, the poster for Legend, what they did with the Guardian's 2-star review?
No.
Oh my gosh. By the way, Duncan adds a close second as Locke, which I also absolutely love. So yeah, definitely a great one. So most of the reviews for Legend are amazing, 4-star across the board, whatever. But The Guardian gave it 2 stars. And so the brilliant artist who created the poster for this, like the poster has both of the Cray brothers on it.
Both Tom Hardys.
Yeah, both Tom Hardys. And they sandwiched the 2-star review between them and put The Guardian. So it looks like their bodies are covering up the rest of the stars. So it's like all these 4-star reviews. And then the 2-star you don't even notice because it looks like it's just covered up. It's like, that is the most genius thing I have ever heard of in my life. So good on you, graphic designer, who came up with the Legend poster, because that's brilliant.
Snuck that in there.
Yeah, because they could have just ignored it, like not put it on there at all. But they were like, oh no.
They're like, big middle finger to you.
Yeah, Guardian. Exactly. Screw you, Guardian. Anyways, we've been bypassing. We'll probably talk more Tom Hardy because it's a thing that we can't help. But let's talk about some pop culture things. What do you say?
Yeah, let's talk about my favorite thing that's happened.
Which one's that?
The one that you sent me. So Corey sent me this video of Demi Lovato, and she's at some kind of, Q&A thing, and the interviewer asks her what her favorite dish is. And she goes, my favorite dish? I'd probably have to go with a mug, for like teas and
It's like, because it's got a handle, so it's not too hot.
And you're watching it, and you're thinking, like, at first, I remember watching, I had to watch it twice, because the first time I was so confused as to what was happening. And, like, I read your caption was like, she missed congeniality this. I'm like, okay. And then, like, as I'm getting, I'm like, oh, no. And I'm like, wait, like, does she know? Like, does she know?
Which she claims she did. And a part of me is, like, I'm inclined to believe her because I feel like the look on her face is kind of like she's trying not to laugh. And she's also realizing that it's not landing. Like, they're not laughing.
Yeah.
She's like,
yeah. She's like, well, it's way funnier in my head.
Yeah. Like, I thought that I was going to nail this. I'm just going to look stupid, aren't I?
Yeah. No, Demi. No, you did not. Trust me.
Yeah. But it was amazing. I love that so much.
It was great. It was
like, either way, it's kind of clever. I mean, even if it was a mistake, it's a great mistake.
If it was a mistake, like, that's really funny. But if it wasn't, it's like, it's better that way, because she was trying. She knows. I think part of it even was probably like, I bet she's got like a group of like 4 friends, and they all watch that movie every freaking time they get together and have been drinking and joking about all that stuff. That. And so part of her was like, oh, they're going to love this.
It's going to be great. Yeah.
And then other people will get it because it's like a famous thing. And then no one else does. And she's like, oh, shit. I'm just gonna keep going,
No, totally.
So props, Demi. You know what? You may not have nailed it with them, but you nailed it with us.
You nailed it with us in our hearts. And if you haven't seen that video, it's delightful. You have to watch it. It's on electricfeast.com, or it will be as soon as I post this. Now I have to like sort of give that. It'll be in a minute because we're doing this live. But if you're watching this later and not live, it is on the Electric Feast. Check it out. It's hilarious. So kudos to you, Demi. One of my favorite pop stars in the world.
Yeah. P.S. Side note on her. Did you see her do that cover of Take Me to Church?
I haven't watched it yet. Did you watch it?
Yeah. It gave me goosebumps and I cried a little bit.
I know. That's what I keep hearing is it's just so incredible.
She's just so good. Like, she's amazing. She is so good. And so I watched Camp Rock the other day. I don't even watch the movie. I just like fast forward to every time she songs.
Oh my gosh.
I just love her so much. So anyway, she nailed it and it was like amazing.
Of course she did.
Like, look at me. I'm so cool. It's like, it honestly kind of almost looked like she just kind of like cruised and was like, yeah, we'll sing this song, because it's like those like
she's
mellow
just that
sessions.
good.
Yeah, she is. She totally is. And, she's got these like 2 backup singers who are just kind of like barely there, but it's like perfect the way that they brought them in and her. Anyway, you guys should watch it.
I watched another one of those too, and I think it's the same thing. That was FKA Twigs, who I only know who that is because she's engaged to Robert Pattinson. And so I've seen articles about that. But she did a cover of Sia's Chandelier that is also like chills. Like, oh my gosh, it's absolutely amazing. And at one point she brings in these 2 people who she just sort of like does this like dance with in it. They don't sing or anything like that. There's just like a dance and it's marvelous.
Oh, cool.
So good job, Demi. Good job, FKA Twigs. I don't know what FKA stands for, but I like you.
Francis.
I like you a lot.
Key Allen.
Probably that, yeah. No, I think that's legit. That sounds right. Another just quick, brief note. I just needed to say this. Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar, you guys, look at this picture of their children.
They're adorable.
They're the cutest thing I have ever seen in my life. Like, holy cow. Sarah Michelle Gellar, apparently they don't often post pictures of their family or anything like that. But Sarah Michelle Gellar posted this picture of her and her kids cooking together. And like their daughter is just like beautiful and is going to grow up to be a supermodel. Amazing. And the little boy is like a dorky Freddie Prinze Jr.
Totally. Oh, it's so good.
So cute. It's like Freddie Prinze Jr. meets like Macaulay Culkin as a child, and like he's just happy, his big eyes. And I saw that and I was like, I just need to bring it up.
Yeah.
I just need for people to know this exists and to look at it and to appreciate it. Because also, you know, as kids, teenagers of the 90s and early aughts, it's just nice to see them. Nice to see
Every
them doing
time
their
I
thing.
see them, I miss them.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
do too.
Like,
I went to a Comic-Con panel a couple years ago for, I think it was like Mass Effect or something like that. Whatever the game is that Freddie Prinze Jr. is a voice in. And they showed like he's actually like a super gamer nerd guy. And
of course he is.
Yeah, of course he is. And he's
But he's
so
still-
excited about it.
Still pretty smoking though. Have you seen him with that?
Yeah,
Like,
and he's got that gray. Yeah, exactly. So in this video, it's like he's got the salt and pepper, everything. He looks like a dad, but like a hot dad. And he's so excited about it. It's like watching a 5-year-old talk about this game. And he's just so stoked on being in it, being a part of it. And he's like, oh, and they added this, and it's super cool that this happens. And I was just like, I don't game, but I feel like I should because you're so into this right now. I loved it. So I feel like we need more of them in our lives. But also I like that we don't have a lot of them in our lives because clearly they're just like living as a family.
They're just doing them.
Yeah. And Sarah Michelle Gellar is like the one who's out there more.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. It's like he chills at home, he does some voiceovers and whatnot, and Sarah Michelle Gellar goes out and makes TV shows and lives the life. So I feel good about them.
Yeah, they're whatever. I love them.
You make good babies, Prinze family.
Well done.
Well done. And then our final pop culture note. People are not too happy with the recent Vanity Fair cover, which proclaims that late night is better than ever, and then shows a spread of 8 billion white men and 2 black men, but all men who are now in late night. Now, one of the greatest rebuttals to this, I think, was that Samantha Bee of The Daily Show is apparently getting her own late night show on a different channel. Do you remember what channel it was?
Yes. I watched her little promo for it.
Did you say PBS?
TBS with a T.
Oh, I was like, what? TBS. That makes more sense. So Samantha Bee is getting her own TBS late night show. And so she tweeted back at Vanity Fair in response to the picture, good. And then ... And then the next tweet said, better. And it's all of those guys. And then Samantha Bee as like a minotaur. Is that what you call it? Centaur? Centaur, not a minotaur. What's a minotaur?
A minotaur is the one with like, it's like a ramp with like the...
Okay, yeah. No, that makes sense.
Centaur is half man, half horse.
Right.
Like a minotaur is
like
more
a bull
like
thing?
It's more like a... It's got like a...
Yeah, it's got the face, like a ram.
It's got like a ram's head, sort of. It's got like curly horns, like big horns, and it's giant.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to be mixed with, but this was a centaur. Centaur. It's like a man centaur.
A man centaur and laser beams for eyes.
Yeah, laser beams for eyes riding in front of it. And that was absolutely phenomenal. So good on her. But, you know, it's not really Vanity Fair's fault that this cover came across this way, because I mean that's what late night is, and it's what everyone's been pointing out about late night forever. Like, oh, every time there's an opening for a host, they put another dude in it.
Right.
WTF, mate. So, you know, that's not entirely on them. A minotaur is a bullhead on a man's body.
Yeah, I just looked at it.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Bulls,
You're
yeah,
right.
that makes sense.
I think we said goat or whatever. I think I said something else, but anyway. So yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, so it's not really Vanity Fair's fault.
Technically, it's not their fault, but it was. I think it's a little bit more of it's like the best it's ever been, and you're like, really? Is it? Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, in certain ways, I mean, you've got Corden, who's amazing, putting Colbert on there, and Colbert is actively trying to be more of an advocate for getting more women, and you know, obviously classing up things too with having Joe Biden and things like that, and trying to make it something that's a little more, I would say, a little more like Craig Ferguson was doing, but in a better time slot. Because Craig Ferguson was always making it sort of like a serious affair and trying to get people who were really intellectual and things like that on that show. But he was so late that there were only a few of us who actually were watching it. But yeah, I mean, it also, I think it leads into in our next sort of section on TV things, dear Matt Damon's flub on Project Greenlight. So Project Greenlight, it's a show just came back. It'd been years that it's been off the air, but they brought it back. And it's essentially where he and Ben Affleck and so forth try to find like filmmakers. It's like a filmmaking reality show competition type thing. And they had Effie, what's her last name?
Trinket?
Not Effie Trinket. Definitely not.
I know that wasn't it. That was a joke.
Kristen likes mugs.
That must be how Demi Lovato felt. Tough crowd.
Oh no. What is her name? Why can't I think of what her name is?
I'm looking it up.
Okay.
Effie Brown.
Effie Brown.
Like that was a hard last name.
I know. Like, well, the thing was, my thought was white, so I was just going like colors. Like, I don't know, white, red, brown, black. It's Effie colored. Effie Brown, who's a successful Black filmmaker, on the show, and she brings up a problem about diversity in this and how they need to be careful because the one Black character in the script is a prostitute and how they treat that, you know, and Matt Damon sort of interrupts with some weird point about like diversity in the like diversity being in the casting process and not in casting the show that they're actually on right now. And essentially, it doesn't matter who's behind the camera, but you know who's in front of it. And her response is amazing. She just is like, "Oh, okay." And you've probably seen the screenshot of it. But all of this, I mean, Matt Damon arguably is someone that you consider like very progressive, often an ally and things like that. But in this moment is just such like a wild misunderstanding of what people are asking for when they talk about diversity. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry. I totally zoned out for a second. What did you say?
Wow.
I'm so sorry. I was actually trying to read something in the article about this and listen to the same time, but then
what was in the article that you were reading?
Okay, well, here's my thing. So I'm a little bit confused by the story slightly.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was under the impression that she had made a statement to the fact that the team that they had to make this movie was also white. So the entire team sitting in front of her, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, unnamed other people. I don't even think they named them in here. Mm-mm. That's an entire group of white people making this movie. Mm-hmm. Right. So I thought her initial comment was like, looking at this team I see sitting here, like, right. So she was calling them out as a group, right? That team, that producing team. Right. And then his answer to that was, well, it's not so much about the producing team. Like, I mean, we'll put some Black people in the movie.
Right, exactly.
Like, because that's what it's important. And her kind of response is like, or the backlash against it. And I just want to make sure this is right, that I'm gathering this right. The backlash against it is like, oh yeah, Matt Damon, because you should only put Black people in front of the camera, not behind it, or diversity. There should only be diversity in front of the camera, not behind it. Right. What's the issue?
Yeah, that's exactly what the issue is. Okay. And one of the things he also says is like, well, actually, the team that was most diverse was the one that reacted best to the script as it is, where he argues that this team of all white people had qualms about it and were questioning this issue of the Black person being the prostitute and all this kind of stuff and questioning diversity. But yeah, for her, I mean, that was a horrible way to put it. Essentially, for him to say like, well, we're worried about diversity in the casting of the film, not in the casting of our show.
Yeah, and it's also always problematic too when it's like she's trying to, they brought her in as an expert to give them feedback, and while she's doing it, he's like, I'm gonna stop you right there. Yeah, and explain to you how this is gonna, and let you explain to you what we're trying to do, and it's like, if you didn't really want her opinion, like maybe don't bring her on. Like if you're just gonna kind of sit down and tell her, that she's wrong, or I don't know. That to me is like, it always makes me uncomfortable. And I think I interrupt you all the time, so I should be more uncomfortable with it. But in those types of situations, like when people are like, they have like a serious problem, I don't interrupt you when we talked about non-serious things, so it's totally fine.
Yeah, no, that's different.
But, you know, like when you're having this, like, I mean, it's like a confrontation, basically. She's like trying to bring up something sensitive, and he's like, I don't know. And she gets kind of cut off. It's like, ugh. I couldn't even watch I don't even know if there's a clip of it, and I didn't even want to watch it because it made me uncomfortable just reading about it. I'm like, I can't even know if I can finish reading this article. It's making me so uncomfortable. Like, I don't even want to, in the screenshot of her face, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, with this whole thing, what I hope is that the reason that, because obviously Matt Damon has, you know, the final say in what actually airs on this show. And so I'm hoping that by showing that confrontation the way it played out, he is acknowledging, you know, that he doesn't always say the right thing or, you know, things like that. But I mean, he hasn't said anything today to explain himself or explain leaving that in there or anything like that. I just hope that that's what, sorry. I hope that that's what he's trying to do is be like, you know what, maybe that wasn't the best thing for me to say. So we're showing her response to it. We're showing this conversation did happen. It was, you know, it was a poor choice. And I hope that he does one of those apologies that we like, where he's just like, you know what? Yep, that was messed up.
That was lame.
Probably shouldn't have said it that way. And I'll do better. Because, you know, I think he's the kind of person who hopefully has that kind of potential. And that's what I was reading across the board was like essentially disappointment. Like, Matt Damon, this is not you.
I know. We were literally just, I mean, like 4 days ago singing the praises of Matt Damon and how much we love him so much. And now we're like,
you know, people say problematic things. You know, it is what it is. I don't think that this negates Matt Damon as a good person or anything like that.
I don't think so. Gosh,
it's just,
I hope
not
a blind spot. Really stupid things. I would hate that those things would negate me as a good person.
Right. It's something you need to improve on. That's all.
Yeah,
pay attention.
Don't we all have things we need to improve on?
Exactly.
I know I do.
I know I do. So stay in your lane, Matt Damon. But, you know, hopefully it's a learning experience. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. In other TV news, Nickelodeon.
Yes.
Nickelodeon. The internet exploded a little bit yesterday. I don't know. Did you notice this, Kristen?
I didn't notice this.
The internet was like, went crazy.
Yes, it was good that I didn't go crazy because it wasn't really what they thought. So
no, but it's still exciting. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, it looks like Nickelodeon is hinting at a whole channel dedicated to 90s Nickelodeon, the golden age of Nickelodeon. And so that was everywhere. Everyone was talking about it. Today it's been explained a little further. There's going to be a programming block on Nickelodeon called Nickelodeon Splat. And Nickelodeon Splat is going to bring back various cartoons and things from the golden age of Nickelodeon. I'm excited about this, Kristen.
Also, it's like the perfect name.
Splat, it is.
With an exclamation mark, as it should be.
I love everything about that.
So it's pretty exciting. And I think they were saying the only one that was left off, or not the only one, but one of the notables that was left off was Rugrats won't be on there. Was that?
Oh, really?
Maybe I read that on the article.
Okay, because I think I read earlier, whatever I had read about it was that said that they didn't know they hadn't released exactly
maybe that's what it said.
Gonna be
a short list that Rugrats wasn't on there, but that didn't mean it wasn't gonna be. I guess maybe that was what it was.
Yeah, because how do you do classic Nick without?
I don't know.
Rugrats. That seems important. I mean, I need my Rugrats. I need my Hey Arnold, Real Monsters, and if it's not too much trouble, Alex Mack.
They were doing Alex Mack, I thought.
Was it on there?
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's all. That's mostly what I need. I don't know. What would you? Clarissa's good. What was your? Because you didn't have TV though, right?
I didn't have cable growing up, so so the one I did love Clarissa Explains It All. When I went to my friend's house, we would watch that. I did like Rugrats.
Are You Afraid of the Dark is always my favorite.
Yeah, I didn't do that one.
Understandable.
Yeah. So I'm excited because I don't know. I think mainly because I've seen cartoons nowadays and they're so lame, and I feel like we're always like, oh, they don't make them like they. I feel like we sound like those old people that are harping back for like the golden age.
Yeah.
Like
But this is legitimately a thing that's recognized, because I'm going to get a little children's television scholar here, but this era of Nickelodeon was known as like the creator-driven era, and they really do refer to it as golden era. And the head of Nickelodeon was this woman named Geraldine Laybourne, and like her philosophy was basically to allow the creators of these cartoons to have full reign over, like free reign over whatever they were making. That's why something like Ren and Stimpy could be on Nickelodeon in those days. So where now a lot of this stuff is like sort of a pre-packaged format, and you get a lot of like the same kind of cartoon across the board that are really easy to make and follow a formula. At that point, everything was very different and very focused on whatever the creator's vision for the cartoon was going to be. So you get Hey Arnold, that's about inner city kids. Essentially, it's about poor kids in New York. You get like Rugrats about rebellious babies. And you get like, I don't know, all of this kind of stuff that's very focused on like whatever the creators wanted to do. And so since they sort of moved away from that model, Nickelodeon really is kind of a different beast. It can sell stuff, but it's sort of following a Disney formula, and it's not creating things that are really innovative in the way that they used to. So I think that's one of the fun things, is that I feel like that stuff is still going to hold up. And I watch some of it sometimes because a lot of it's on Amazon Prime. And when you watch like Doug and Rugrats and Hey Arnold and stuff like that, they're still funny. They're still poignant. They have a lot more to say. Also, Duncan says Rocco is super important. We all used to watch Clarissa so much. Salute Your Shorts. Oh my gosh, Salute Your Shorts. Guy from Rilo Kiley was in Salute Your Shorts. I thought he was so cute when I was a kid. He was great. He's also on Boy Meets World. But yeah, Rocco. Oh man, like they would never have Rocco created today. It's so
Ren and Stimpy. They never would have done Ren and Stimpy.
Ren and Stimpy. No way would that fly. That show gave me nightmares when I was a kid. Yeah, too trippy, and like with weird things like the bloody head fairy and stuff like that. And
remember they were on that. Remember that guy we talked about a long time ago? Your mom had posted it, and it was like from Barstow or something, and that artist that did all of those and it was
like the drugged out ones.
Like Ren and Stimpy kind of looked this like Ren and Stimpy, but just a little more deranged than normal. So
yeah, they're already kind of there, and that's like the creator of Ren and Stimpy too. Ren and Stimpy moved to MTV and got even more crass than it already was. And then there's also like the ones that didn't air anywhere that are just like so obscene if you watch them. So the fact that was ever on Nickelodeon shows it's like a very different era that we were in. But I'm so excited that they're bringing this Nickelodeon splat thing, because it's reliving childhood, and I think a lot of people are going to introduce their kids to stuff that's going to inspire them in ways that I think a lot of it's what we've talked about before, Kristen. You know how I hate the fact that now all the shows on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon are just about getting famous.
Yeah.
Like all kids do is get famous, you know, but in Hey Arnold, they weren't worried about being famous. They were just like kids, you know, and that's the kind of thing that I'm interested in seeing. Like Alex Mack is just trying to survive high school with powers, but she's just trying to survive high school. She doesn't use them to then become Hannah Montana or anything like that. She's just trying to live her life. And I think that kind of stuff is good for kids to see. So good job, Nickelodeon. Yay. A+. And also Guardians of the Galaxy, that cartoon is coming, and it gets its own special mixtape.
I like how this is a thing. I really enjoyed how they like made their own now for this as well. I think that was cool. So, and the music is right along the same vein as the movie, which is cool. So
yeah, it even starts with Hooked on a Feeling, which is on the regular awesome mix. And this one is called the Cosmic Mix Volume 1. So that implies that each season is also going to get its own mix. So we have things like Boys Are Back in Town, Shake Your Groove Thing, Joy to the World by Three Dog Night, I Will Survive. Oh, and Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. That's exciting. I'm really just mostly looking forward to this cartoon. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, actually.
I think so too. I like the clips they've been putting on YouTube. I've been watching those.
Yeah. I think again, it's bringing the magic back. I'm all about that, and this little tie-in I think is super cute, and I keep thinking like this kind of thing puts me back in like my childhood mode. So I keep thinking of kids actually making mixtapes of this mixtape.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to happen, but it's a really cute idea. You know?
I don't even know what tapes are.
No, they're like, why are these called mixtapes?
I don't get it. You're like, okay.
You're supposed to put tape on them? I don't understand. Reminds me of my favorite America's Funniest Home Videos clip. I've already told you about this. Are you going to tape us together? Clip.
No.
It's like these two boys, like brothers, and they're sitting on the couch, and you know the dad's filming them, and the kids look like really grumpy, and the dad's like, "What do you want to do?" He's like, "Kid's like, I thought you were gonna tape us together." And he's like, "Yeah, I am." And he's like, "No, you're not." And he's like, "Did you think I was actually going to physically tape you together?" Like, yeah. It's like, why would I do that? I don't know. I just thought it was something you were going to do. It kills me every time. I love it so much. Like just angry, sassy little children who don't understand.
My brother tagged me in this video on Instagram today. And it's this video of this little boy and his younger sister, and they're trick-or-treating. And this like, you know, ghost ghoul thing that was like lying down in there, as you walk past it, it like pops up and it scares the boy. He's like, oh, and he like jumps and he's like, oh, like all freaking out. And the sister kind of like falls up the stairs and she sees how scared he is. She turns around and she looks at the skeleton, walks over to it and goes, boom, boom, and punches it. I was like,
no way. That's amazing.
It is the best thing in the whole world. It's so
good
funny.
Protective instinct, sister.
Yeah, it was pretty, and it's so great because she's clearly younger than he is. I mean, she's maybe 4, you know?
Aww.
He's like in this little Red Riding Hood costume. It's like so adorable. This little blonde-haired kid, and she's like, I'll take care of this. You know?
Did you see the video I posted the other day of the little girl who suddenly freaks out when she sees her shadow?
No.
It's just this little girl. She's like probably like 2 years old, if that. And she's walking along and she's kind of having like a little bit of a breakdown. She's upset or whatever. And her mom's filming her and trying to get her to come along. And she starts wobbling around and then she looks down and she sees her shadow. And all of a sudden it's like, ah! And she tries to run away from it and like looks back and it's still there. And she falls over like she's in a horror movie and starts trying to like scoot away. I was like, oh, I feel like I would have been that kid. It's like, that is 110% me as a child. I was so confused by normal things. Yeah. I think I've said before on here that I did the thing where like, I would always put my shirts on backwards because I saw the front of the shirt and I was like, well, if I want the front to be in the front, I can see the front. This is the front. So I'd put it on the same way. I'm like, no, that's not right. That's not right. And I waved backwards because I saw other people's hands. Yes. Shadow girl, I get you.
It's okay, little
buddy. We're kindred spirits. Did you watch the Jessica Jones release trailer?
I did, and I watched it multiple times because
it's amazing, right?
Here's the thing. So one of my favorite things about Daredevil was the opening credits.
Mm-hmm.
I never fast forwarded through them. I always
never
with like this fascination every time, you know. So there's 10 episodes. I love the opening credits.
Yeah. And
so this is a cool like painting. And the song is really like haunting and cool. And I'm very excited. I was I don't know, it's a teaser trailer, so it's not like a real one. So
there's like literally nothing in it.
Yeah, part of me was like, but I wanted to see Jessica Jones. But I'm like, it's okay. It's a teaser, so I'll give them that. As far as teaser trailers go, it's very good.
Yeah, it's super cool. For something you would watch again and again that has no information about the show except that it is released November 20th.
November 20th is and what it's called.
And what it's called.
There's kind of that one part with the door. It says private investigator or PI on it or something. So you do kind of.
Yeah, because like that's the thing is within all the like painty things and stuff, there's like shapes. There's like occasionally
there's
you see
a street sign and
things like that. But it doesn't. you don't get any clips or anything like that out of it, but it's so pretty and the song is so good, and it just like the tone of it gets you. You're like, if this is the tone of this show, I'm in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm in. I've always been in.
Yeah.
Basically after Daredevil, I'm like, I'm gonna watch now whatever Marvel does on Netflix.
Yeah.
Awesome. So.
I mean, not that it was ever really debated, but definitely after Daredevil sold, I'm probably going to watch all of them in quick succession, as I did with Daredevil as well. But yeah, so you can check that out on the website too. Jessica Jones is coming out November 20th. Watch that cool little trailer. It's delightful. But in movies,
another Marvel news, I guess. Rachel McAdams has confirmed that she will indeed be co-starring, whatever, in Doctor Strange, which, as we think you guys all should know, that Benedict Cumberbatch will be in. So I don't remember if there's anybody else casted other than her, though, right? It's just
I don't think so.
And we don't even know who she's playing. So she's just...
It's pretty vague.
It was very big. She was just kind of like, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm so excited. I can't tell you anything else. You're like, oh, okay, well, cool. I love Rachel McAdams, so I'm down.
You know, I'm not a Rachel McAdams fan.
No, I've always liked her.
You know, I love Mean Girls, so, you know, I like her in that. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm just, like, largely unimpressed. I can't put my finger on it, and I'm always trying to figure out, like, what is it about Rachel McAdams that I don't like? And it's not her. I'm sure she's a lovely person. It's more of like something about her acting that I don't know. I don't like. I think she comes across as high strung no matter who she's playing, and it stresses me out. Maybe, I don't know. So I don't know. I'm not super stoked on it, but I'm also like, I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt and assume that they saw her audition and she's amazing for whatever she's playing in this, and it's going to be awesome.
She must be super good as waitress number 4.
What if that was really like what was happening? Like how Daniel Craig being in Star Wars as like an unnamed stormtrooper. What if she's just like randomly in the background of a scene? Like she's in it.
Yeah.
Rachel McAdams guest as extra. That would be awesome.
Doesn't even get paid.
Yeah, I would have a lot of respect for that. I would feel good about it.
In worse news, apparently they're making a Mary Poppins sequel.
Potentially with Anne Hathaway. That part is less confirmed, but
I think someone just said that because she kind of looks like Julie Andrews and is like...
And they were in Princess Diaries together.
And she can sing.
And she can sing. And this is not, I have nothing against Anne Hathaway.
I'm not
grossed out by that.
It's this movie's in principle. This completely unneeded.
Unnecessary.
And also, it's been like, when did Mary Poppins come out? 1963?
Yeah, something like that.
Why are we
Because it was...
now?
I don't know. It's weird. And it's supposed to take place 20 years after the original. As someone pointed out, they were like, so like right as the Nazis are coming to power?
Yeah. 22. Yeah, because at first I was thinking, I missed the part where it said the 20 years. And so it was like, oh, you know, when the Nazis come to power. I was like, but I thought this movie took place like in like the 1912, you know, whatever. And then I went back and read it. And then I was thinking too, remember how upbeat she was about being a suffragette and like wanting to get the votes for women? And then I kept thinking about the trailer for Suffragette where they're like being beaten by the police. I'm like, okay, interesting. Another way that Disney lied to me as a child. But
also I think that's kind of a class issue as well. A rich lady suffragette versus a working class suffragette.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anyway, so the point is that they're making this, and it's Mary Poppins comes back apparently, and
I'm assuming, like, do you figure she'll go to a different, because she can't come back, she has to go to a different family.
Well, right? The article was saying that the series of books she does come back to the Banks family because she shows up on little Boy Banks's kite or something.
Oh.
I mean, the premise of the books they were talking about was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like she went and took them and like showed them racial stereotypes around the world.
Yeah, that's right. Like, they have like a day out of racial stereotypes.
Yeah, and I'm like, what's happening? So I obviously that's probably not going to be the plot of this movie. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll be like a Nanny McPhee. Maybe she'll show up in a different family.
That's what I was thinking.
I actually really love Nanny McPhee.
It's charming. I'll give it that.
Such a nerdy thing to like. I really like Nanny McPhee. Anyway, so maybe it'll be like, I don't know. I just feel so weird and like super random because it's been like, forever since it came out. And they're like, oh, yeah, let's do a sequel to that. I'm like, what?
Yeah, there's a demand for this.
Also, we have Nanny McPhee, which is essentially the exact same movie, basically.
Right.
You know
what I blame? I blame those NBC musical whatever.
Live action with the Sound of Music. And this isn't going to be one of those, though, right? It's a movie.
No. I'm just saying, I feel like, those are super successful, even if
because
half the people watching are hate watching.
Yeah.
But I feel like people are looking at that and they're like, you know what, we should bring back this stuff because people are super into it. They're going to want to see a Mary Poppins sequel. And I say, nay, I don't want to see that. And I'm going to watch it, which is worse. I'm going to watch it. It's going to happen. And I don't know. I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it.
I don't even know if I'm going to see it. We'll see.
We'll see what the trailers look like. You know what? Someone told me they went and saw that Hook movie. Not Hook.
No.
Pam movie. But they said it was amazing.
It cannot be. We talked about this. Remember that line?
No, I know.
Okay, sorry. I know. I don't know.
Trust me. I'm as incredulous as the next guy. But
no, that movie did win me $20 once. So
Pam?
Yeah, I bet my friend thought someone else was in it, and he was like, "Oh, it's so and so." I'm like, "No, it's not. It's Garrett Hedlund." And he's like, "No, it's not. It's whatever. I forget what actor he was saying." I was like, "I bet you $20." I know. First of all, I was even offended that he didn't listen to me. I was like, "I will bet you $20 it's Garrett Hedlund." He's like, "Okay." I was like, "That was the easiest $20."
Easiest $20 ever.
Boom. I was like, "I'll take your money now." He's like, and he looked it up. He was like, "Come on, bro.
Come on. Please." Right. Where you're like, I have a podcast, okay?
I was like, you hurt my feelings. I have a job that I don't get paid for, that it is to be up on this type of thing.
Not that totally means we're in the loop most of the time. But
I still don't even know most social media platforms. But still.
Yeah. I'm going to use it.
I know actors. Yeah. I don't know anybody I went to college with, but I can name the entire cast of Pan. So
accurate.
Anyway,
so, I don't know. Maybe that'll turn out to be good. I don't know. Yeah. I have strong doubts.
We have low expectations for this one. Mary Poppins. This one was super random.
What do you think of Jungle Book?
Also looks terrible.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get to see a whole heck of a lot of it.
Well, they allegedly said it was live action.
Didn't you?
Nothing seemed live action to me in it.
Well, I feel like it's because like all they show of Mowgli is like him swinging around and stuff. So clearly it's CGI.
So it looks so fake. So I was annoyed, and I don't know, like it. I have this thing with voiceover actors. Like, get actual voiceover actors for this,
as opposed to famous people.
Because all I can hear is Scarlett Johansson pretending to be a snake.
All I could hear was Her, like the movie Her. In this.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see that, but that would make sense.
Okay. Well, she's the voice of the OS in Her, and so you never see her face; you just hear her. And so, as a result, the entire trailer, I felt like she was an operating system, and that's dumb. Yeah. So I agree. I think that they should have gotten real voiceover actors. But the only reason people are going to go see this movie is for like Scarlett Johansson or whatever. So
yes, I don't know. I wasn't impressed. I mean, I was like, so I'm like, oh, because I remember the Vine that they posted looked really cool. I was like, oh, that looks cool. And then they showed it. I was like, none of this says live action to me. I'm like, even your one live actor doesn't look like he's alive. Like,
he was adorable though. The brief that you get of his face, I was like, oh, he's so cute.
Because they didn't show his face until they showed the CGI version of him.
So you weren't even...
still didn't think he was a real kid. Like, nothing in this made, and I finally Googled it. I was like, why is this called live action? Like, not even the scenery is alive. Like, what is
right? Because I mean, really, aside from Mowgli being real, which they're gonna have to CGI a lot of, what else would be live action about it?
I don't know, because none of the backdrops or anything. It doesn't look like he's like out in the jungle.
And there's still gonna be like Baloo and all this kind of stuff. Like they're not gonna have live action bears, or things like that. So I don't know. It does seem to be stretching the definition a little bit.
And so I guess that was the first thing I was super pissed about. I don't know. So
I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
Jungle
again,
Book isn't my favorite of the Disney movies anyway, so I wasn't like,
it's cute, but it's not my fave. Yeah, but I just don't like Disney of all things. I mean, they do a lot of adapting of like obviously Jungle Book coming from a book and things like that, and Lion King coming from an African story and all kinds of stuff. They do a lot of adaptations, but I feel like they don't need to like be copying themselves right now. So Jungle Book and like Mary Poppins and stuff, it's like just make something new.
we see your new stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Plus, Mowgli was so annoying in that movie. So I'm like, oh, I hope this kid is less. I hope they made him less annoying. That was like my one. Every time I watch Jungle Book, I'm like, I hope Shere Khan kills you. That's how annoying I think you are.
Wow, that's intense,
Sorry,
Kristen.
that was kind of escalated quickly. But
is it Jungle Book that you know at Disneyland how they had that thing that used to be Swiss Family Robinson, and it's Tarzan that it is now. I don't like Tarzan. I don't like that movie at all. It made me think of it because I was thinking of Shere Khan, and then I was thinking
soundtrack.
It does have a great soundtrack. Phil Collins. Mm-hmm. We used to play that in band all the time. I was impressed when I was a babysitter.
I want to know.
I had Can you show me?
I want to know
about the strangers like me. When I was a babysitter, I had my ringtone was Invisible Touch by Phil Collins. And I was so impressed because one day I was, my phone rang and one of the little girls that I babysit goes, "Is that Tarzan?" I was like, "No, but it is the same singer. Good on you."
Well played, young one.
Well played. I'm so proud you know your Phil Collins.
You're learning well, young Padawan.
Oh, and wait, is this in this? Duncan says, and Chiwetel Ejiofor is going to play the villain Baron Mordo. Are we still talking about Jungle Book?
Doctor Strange.
Huh?
Doctor Strange.
Oh, Doctor Strange. It's like, the thing is, the Q&A things aren't appearing in order. So they're like kind of all over the place, so I don't know what they're in response to. We'll get used to this after a while. This is like the test run, and we'll figure it out. Also, the thing I figured out is more people comment when I post the YouTube video on Facebook as opposed to the Google Hangout link. So next time I'll do it that way, but that's okay. Anyways, yeah, so I was thinking about Tarzan, but the Tarzan treehouse in Disneyland, I went there with Michelle once, and they have it was dark. It was the end of the night. Nobody was really around. And for some reason we decided to do this. I'd never been up there before. And they have this part where you're just looking over Tarzan's parents' effects. And then there's, what were they killed by? Like a panther or something like that? Like
crash.
Oh, was it a plane crash? I don't know. There's like a jaguar or a panther or something like that in there. And it's just stationary, but all of a sudden it roars, and I nearly peed, and I ducked and covered, and Michelle ran down the hallway. I turned around, she's just gone. That's, see you later.
Did you turn around and punch the panther?
How dare you? No, I wish I had. And then there was something else that made us jump in there too, and we were like, "That's it, peace out. We're done with this stupid thing.
This is the worst,
dumbest attraction ever. I hate you, Disneyland." But that's not Jungle Book. I get those confused.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. One more movie thing.
Oh my
Kristen.
gosh. You guys. Okay, so you probably saw this. We posted it earlier this week or last week, whatever it was. There is our first clip of I Saw the Light, which is the Hank Williams documentary starring our very own Tom Hiddleston.
Biopic, not documentary.
Oh, sorry. You're right. Good call. Yes, not a documentary.
I got you covered.
And it is wonderful. He does such a great job. I can't even handle it so much. I was just so excited.
Yeah, it's a short clip of him singing and whatnot.
I was so giggly about it. It was just, I can't even handle it. I don't even know what to do with my hands. They're so foreign objects to me right now.
I know. For those listening to the podcast, she's all tentacles right now, thinking about it. She's all Tom Hiddleston and his wandering hands.
Oh, wandering hand
right now, because it's great. He's really selling it. He's nailing the role from what we can see. And, as I've said before, I don't like biopics, but clearly I'm going to see this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
that's they've already got our vote. Tom Hiddleston for whatever. I don't know.
For everything,
Yeah.
Just like life.
Just like
Tom Hiddleston for life.
Tom Hiddleston, Tom Hardy, president and vice president.
With I was about to say Chris Pratt as court jester, but that's a different system of government.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, Chris Pratt could be the guy that does the White House press correspondence dinner.
There we go.
That was lame. Let's move on.
I'm for it.
Anyway, then we have
We'll move on.
Story. I don't know if you guys know this about us, but we like to share really random, kind of interesting, stories that we think. I mean, I still think we should have just done Chris the Sheep again this week, but we can move on to something else.
By the way, did you see, just back to Chris the Sheep real quick, did you see there was a guy who, it was like a newscaster, and he had to do like a story about a pig, and the pig's name was like Chris T. Johnson or something like that, and the guy could not stop laughing. It was like as soon as he had to say the name, he was gone. It's like they try to roll the story, and all you can hear is him just like snorting and laughing.
Did you see the one where the speaking of newscasters, that guy that nails that long ass name?
Oh my god, the Welsh city.
I mean, we're clearly not going to try and say it. You guys, it's remarkable how good he is at it, and he just says it like he's saying Smith.
Yeah, you know, it had to have been like a dare or something. Like, so I was like, I bet you can't pull that off on air.
You kidding me? That guy won like $500 from everybody on that crew.
Like they never. It's like a small place.
Oh yeah,
it's
everybody.
Not like you actually tell the weather in this place. Like you don't compare that to anything. Like and near blah 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 blah. Like
no way. Yeah. Yeah. Or he lost a bet to someone, and that was what he had to do, and then they were like, "Dang it."
Yeah, nailed it. The thing is, we could all be trolled. He could be saying it completely wrong, and none of us would know. It just sounds like it. We're like, this guy's nailing it. And you're like, no.
But I thought everything was saying that he was doing it. That's how you said it.
Well, yeah, everything was saying that, but I'm just saying how many of the places that posted actually know that for sure. Like probably in Wales, I'm sure they're like, hey, he did a good job. But everyone else, we're just like, they keep telling us he nailed it. So
we're going to go with that. Anyway, sorry, that wasn't the story either.
No, it wasn't.
The story was this. In Ireland, there was a storm, as it is there, because if you notice, it's not California. They get lots of rain.
They get that, yeah.
And it cranked over this tree, and dangling from the tree roots was a skeleton.
A skeleton.
Not just any skeleton, people. A medieval skeleton.
Yeah, 1,000 years old.
Yeah, and died apparently rather violently.
Yeah. Yeah, like he had like what they think may have been sword wounds, maybe a knife, like multiple injuries. Guy's between 17 and 25 years old. Rough life, apparently. And then was buried in a shallow grave sometime between 1030 and 1200 AD.
Now, I don't remember if the story said, how old was the tree?
The tree, it said, was, I think, wait, let me see. The tree was 200 years old, a 200-year-old beech tree. So it was planted long after this fella had been buried there.
Happened there.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just random and cool. And so they're going to excavate kind of the area to see if they can find out more. Because they don't know if it was like he was in a bar fight or if he was like there was some kind of battle there. So they're going to do some more excavating, which is cool. So it'll be fun to see if they find anything else, or if this poor medieval skeleton just died alone in a field.
Right.
Sad.
Can you imagine though, like, because at first you would have to be so horrified coming across this. Like you go and there's this upturned tree and you just see like a skeleton hanging out of it. It's like, like, oh my God, someone was murdered. And then you're like, oh, it's 1,000 years old. Yeah.
Well, it's totally like an opening of an episode of Bones. They're always like wandering through the woods and like a skull is hanging from a tree and they're like, oh no, and they were murdered horribly.
Yeah.
So honestly, I kind of feel like Dr. Brennan showed up in Ireland now to look at this, cheap about it.
I hope so. I hope she's heading over there. So that was, I found that fascinating. I was like, we need to talk about this because, Ireland, man, history, Bones. I hope we find out more. I guess there's a good chance we won't, but I do hope that somehow they figure out what happened to this person. And it's so interesting.
Poor Mike. He just...
Mike. You decided his name is Mike?
Yeah.
The traditional Irish name, Mike?
Yes.
I'll accept it. Yeah, poor Mikey. He just Hanging out, mind his own business, stab, 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 under a tree for 1,000 years.
Oh, wow.
Fascinating.
I forgot to share, though. I wanted to share my favorite Tom Hardy internet thing.
Oh, yeah, do it.
Other than, like, Tom Hardy with his dogs, which are adorable.
Right.
But a while ago, Duncan shared with us this Toast article that was If Tom Hardy Were Your Boyfriend, which should be noted was co-written by Mara Wilson. So I think deserves
Mara Wilson of Matilda fame.
Matilda fame, who is like now just like a smart woman and does funny things. Anyway, so it's this just really funny article, and it's obviously just pieced together with like things that we assume about Tom Hardy.
Right.
But it's so hilarious. I die. So I've sent it to people, and I keep forgetting, but I want a hashtag thing legend now just because of this article actually in itself.
Right.
The things that he says, which is so great. So it's like, if Tom Hardy were your boyfriend, he would gift you a rope bracelet early on in your relationship. When you ask it what it is, he would respond intensely, "This could save your life." And then my favorite one, which is at the very bottom, you guys, we'll link to this so you can read it as well. The last one was my favorite one, or not the last one, the second to last one is, if Tom Hardy were your boyfriend, anytime you suggested the two of you should do something, no matter what, it would be met with a solemn and vulnerable, "Do you promise?" He would not look away until you did.
It's so good.
It's so good. So you guys, we'll link to it so you can read it, but it's hysterical. And that's one of my favorite things. When I'm actually having a rough day, I'll go back and read that because I just think it's so fun. And plus the GIF at the very beginning, I'm not really sure what movie it's from. It looks like it might be Taylor Tinker's by, I'm not sure.
Okay.
And he's just kind of like blinking and looking lovingly at the person sitting across from him. And it's just, so anyway, you guys should also read that. So that's my last, we'll end on a Tom Hardy note, seeing as how it is his birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday, Tom.
Happy birthday, Tom. We're glad you were born. You bring us much joy.
Much joy. And now we're going to go watch Mindy Project.
Ayo.
And live book that action. So thank you. What? Oh.
And we're going to watch something else.
Miss Fisher.
Miss Fisher after that.
Oh my God, I can't even wait. So thank you so much for joining us here in our trial and error thing. I see the Q&A work, so hopefully we'll get more Q&As as we go along and figure out this crazy little thing called Google+. Until then, you can follow us on YouTube, on iTunes, on Stitcher, on SoundCloud, on Facebook, on Twitter, Electric Fancave. And don't forget to check out the blog on electricfeast.com so that you can check out all the awesome things that we talked about today. We want to have all of those links. Oh, I see. And apparently we can click on questions in Q&A to mark them as read. Da-na-na-na. See, it's a learning process, you guys. It's great, but we'll get there. Thanks for listening to the Fan Cave. And for this week, thanks to everyone also who came out to the Martian Book Club, which we forgot to remind you about. But we had a really good time despite technical difficulties and all that kind of stuff. And it was great. So next book club will have to wait till after I'm done with exams, but that was a good one to go on over for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for this week, I'm Corrigan Vaughn.
And I'm Kristen Latterall.
Peace out, everybody.
Take it easy, kids.